What's up, skate fam? Welcome to Deez Skates. I'm your host, David Laliette. In today's episode, I want to tell you a story, the story of your skates. Actually, you should really look to your skates for their story. You see, there's wear on your wheels. Are you rotating them and paying attention to how they're wearing down each session? That's a secret many skaters may not think of. Your wheels are never the same once they start showing wear, and the reason is because of your personal habits. In my case, I had a lot of wear on the front wheel on one skate, while the other had that same amount of wear on the front two wheels. I know what drill I was doing the last time I skated and why the front wheels are worn. And their story this time tells me that I'm not distributing power evenly when doing backward 1-foot turns. I learn a lot from paying close attention to my wheels. I can critique my technique and figure out which parts of my edges need more training and wear. The ground shows me the same thing sometimes. When I skate outside in my inlines, the skates tend to leave their marks everywhere. I can go back over the marked ground after a session and look at how tightly I'm drawing shapes with each foot. From there, I can decide how I want to change my style up to develop even more control on each side of my body. We all have a dominant side, and every skater knows which side or direction they prefer when doing their favorite moves. But in my mind, the goal is to balance out both sides. It's a never-ending battle, and no matter what I do or how much I practice, both sides never feel quite even. But I spend a lot of energy trying to create as much balance as possible. I feel cheated when I get stuck for too long, only being able to execute a move on one side of my body. So every time I learn something, I drill it really hard until I understand it on my dominant side. And then I force myself to learn it just as well on my weak side. Not only does this create more security for me to safely skate at my best in the elements, but it also boosts my style and makes my movements much more versatile. For example, if you're turning back and forth but only crossing over on one side, it's easy to see where your turning skill is lacking. Roller rink skaters are especially bad about being out of balance, and I'm not picking on rink skaters either. I know because before my local rink closed down, I was a rink skater. It took me many years to realize it, but eventually I woke up to the fact that I had a strong right crossover but could barely execute a left crossover. This imbalance is one that many skaters never spend the effort to get past, and as a result, end up holding themselves back from developing their style to the fullest. With this realization in mind, I always try to work on both sides, and I preach it at my friends every chance that I get, because I watch them unlock a new level of comfort in their personal style every time I push them to step outside that comfort box. While it's easy to see how our wheels wear and how the ground or ice gets marked when we skate on it, it's not easy to assess the upper body habits. This takes close attention in the moment to correct, and it can sometimes plague us for a long time before we realize why we're struggling with a move on our weak side. Typically, if the feet don't somehow tell us what's wrong, the upper body will. This is actually one of the main reasons I started filming myself when skating. I started filming my dance to see how I could build my technique, and it dawned on me that I could do the same thing with skating. You may not plan to make your own YouTube channel. You may not even want to share what you record with anyone else. But if you record yourself and spend a few minutes assessing each session, I promise you will open a new window to look through and find many ways to improve your skating skill drastically. So, how does it all come together? And how can you balance out your sides? Issue a challenge to yourself. Can you hockey stop or power slide on both sides efficiently? Is your balance distributed properly between each leg when you turn both directions? Are your crossovers strong with both feet? Ask yourself these questions and be honest. I have another question. Are you subscribed to my channel? If not, you should plan to miss all the tutorials and other fun, informative skating videos like this one I have in store for you. In fact, I have a notebook full of ideas I plan to fulfill this summer in my skates, and I'd like to have you along for the journey. Also, my next classroom tutorial is going to cover a much requested, long-awaited move, the magic slide. I'll be using my edge theory to break it down and show you how I learned to do it in about an hour. For now, I'm gonna hold myself to the challenge I just gave you and work on making it efficient on both sides in both directions. If you're struggling with something, keep your head up and remember that we're all struggling to become better, and no skater is perfect. Many of us skate our entire lives, but none of us achieve perfection. However, the road to perfection is one we should travel all our lives, and I hope the tips I've discussed today help equip you for your own journey. Keep pushing to be the best you can, and I will see you the next time I lace up.